It's the end of the semester and you still won't call me your friend. You know how upsetting that makes me?
You know what you need to do
because
to get
you know
me
what?
to call
No,
you
no,
your friend?
what do I need to do?
You need to not
I've
be
been
so
here to
aggressive
support
about
you.
it.
All right,
So
everybody,
Hey,
right?
everybody. Hey, calm down, little children. Guys. Stop it. It's the holidays.
Get the hell out of here.
Bah, humbug.
Listen, Christmas is a time for giving and sharing and being around the ones we love the most. I personally, Okay, now apologize.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Abby.
Good, now give your intros.
Okay. Welcome back to The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm your host, Abby Perry.
What a sweet. I'm Parker Carlson.
We had our real deal saint of Christmas to come over and cheer us up, so now it's time to share that love with you.
I mean, I wouldn't call him a saint.
Blasphemy! Go wash your mouth out with soap.
Okay, you know what? I think I will. All right, my personal preference is for Lux, but palm olive has a nice pea comb after dinner flavor. Life Buoy is always a good fallback, though.
It defeats the purpose if you're a nerd about the soap, too.
Okay, careful calling me a nerd. My feelings are quite fragile this time of year. Who knows? I might create a hostage situation in a high-rise in New York. I don't know.
Yippee-ki-yay!
Okay, no, leave it to me. No.
I wanted to be included in the Christmas movie jokes, so.
What?
Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
No. It's too violent to be a Christmas movie.
Just because it's violent doesn't mean it can't be a Christmas movie. Just like Knives Out.
I mean, but honestly, I don't think Knives Out is supposed to be a Christmas movie.
Well, I'm gonna bring in Anastasia just to give her review of Knives Out, and then she can decide. Anastasia, care to weigh in?
Murder mysteries are one of the staples in popular media today and have been for a very long time. There have been some changes over the years, specifically in the style of storytelling as well as in the character tropes that fill them. It seems that recently we've been trying to rekindle the charm that stories from Agatha Christie and Arthur Conan Doyle constructed, but haven't had much luck. Knives Out, however, seems to be the exception. It's extremely hard to really review anything about this film without spoiling it, but I'm going to try my best and apologize if I do manage to let something slip. The movie follows the investigation of a murder mystery author following his 85th birthday. His entire family, along with some of his staff, are all likely suspects, and the lead detective on the case doesn't have any plans on ruling anyone out without the evidence to say otherwise. The story is very well constructed. With any kind of mystery, sometimes the clue and evidence and suspects can get a little muddled together, and it's hard to decipher anything, let alone figure out who done it or tries to mislead you, and oh, look, suddenly there's a character we've never heard of or a piece of evidence that somehow has never been talked about. Knives Out, however, does neither of these things. This film carefully lays out all the clues that you need to understand what's going on, but never feels like it's being spoon-fed to you. It keeps you guessing the entire time, trying to figure out who possibly could have been the murderer, and surprises you, but when you look back, you can find the trail that leads straight up to the culprit. Another wonderful thing about Knives Out is the cast. Jamie Lee Curtis, Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, and Ana de Armas are just a handful of the A-list cast. The film has a huge ensemble filled with pretty big celebrities, which can be an obstacle or an advantage. In this case, it's a large advantage. Each of the characters is carefully thought out and have great chemistry. We don't get a lot of screen time with all of the characters, but it still lets each of the characters flesh out who they are and allows the audience to have an opinion on each. Knives Out also does a wonderful job of using typical tropes to its advantage. It could have been campy or cheesy or even just downright bad, but the film manages to use these tropes as a way to get you to know who the characters are without revealing too much or giving too much screen time to anyone. All in all, the movie is wonderful. It's funny and fast-paced, and while this is not a Christmas movie, if you're looking for a movie to watch with your family this winter, I highly recommend Knives Out. And try not to watch any trailers. It's best to go into this movie with little to no information. That's it for me. I'm Anastasia Scott, and I hope you all have happy holidays.
Thanks, Anastasia.
Marcos, Parker isn't feeling the holiday spirit.
That's about as Christmassy as it gets.
Excuse you, I said holiday spirit, not just Christmas.
What do you mean by that?
I mean Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Las Posadas, Diwali, a shout out to the winter solstice for our fellow pagans, and so much more.
What was the last part?
The winter solstice. Perfect time to lay down incantations for next year.
Please don't tell me what incantations you chant.
Well, last year I wanted to be the host for The Real Deal, and I got 2 seasons. So it turned out better than I even thought.
Oh, okay, I mean, I guess you're right. Mhm.
Of course I am. I got rid of Noah, didn't I?
So Nate is here for The Irishman. What are you talking about this evening, Nate?
It'd be a gigantic understatement if I said I was just a little excited for The Irishman, the latest movie from Martin Scorsese. If Steven Spielberg is the father, then Martin Scorsese is the son. This movie not only reteams the prolific filmmaker with his first muse, Robert De Niro, the film also brought Joe Pesci out of retirement and marks Scorsese's first collaboration with Al Pacino. Another key thing to note when discussing The Irishman is the studio behind this movie, Netflix. This is not only Netflix's most expensive movie to date, but it's also Scorsese's, with an estimated budget of $159 million. This is also Netflix's big Oscar film this year, along with Marriage Story and The Two Popes. Just a year after their film Roma won 3 Oscars, including Best Director for Alfonso Cuarón, though despite it being the Best Picture frontrunner, it lost out in that category to the controversial Green Book. The Irishman, which is based on the book I Heard You Paint Houses by Charles Brandt, follows the story of Frank Sheeran, played by Robert De Niro, a truck driver and a hitman for the mob who allegedly had involvement. Can I start over that? The Irishman, which is based on the book I Heard You Paint Houses by Charles Brandt, follows Frank Sheeran, played by Robert De Niro, a truck driver and a hitman for the mob who allegedly had involvement with the disappearance and death of Teamsters president Jimmy Hoffa, played by Al Pacino. The film follows Sheeran over the course of several decades and covers not only Sheeran's ties with Hoffa, but also his strained relationship with his daughter Peggy, played as an adult by Anna Paquin, and his friendship with mobster Russell Bufalino, played by Joe Pesci. Martin Scorsese can still direct like a rock star alongside Steve Zalian's excellent script. This might be Scorsese's best work as a director since The Departed. The film runs at a hefty runtime of 3.5 hours, and while I've certainly heard complaints on how the film was a so-called slog to get through and that several scenes should have been cut, I for one disagree. Surprise, surprise. The 209-minute runtime flew by for me, and this felt more like it was 2 hours thanks to Thelma Schumacher's flawless editing. I also don't agree with the sentiment that some of the scenes could have been cut, because to me, at least every scene served a purpose to the overall arc of the film. The film's last 40 minutes is some of the best pieces of film I've seen in years, and stuck with me ever since I watched it. I was slightly concerned about the de-aging effects from the trailers, but I'm happy to report that the de-aging effects here are almost entirely seamless. Aside from one particular scene that requires some action and movement, I was never distracted. This is easily the best use of the technology to date, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Robert De Niro gives his best performance in years as Frank Sheeran, and goes to levels I haven't seen from him in a long time. Al Pacino and Joe Pesci are also at the top of their game here, giving 2 performances that I could see either one winning Best Supporting Actor come Oscar time. The rest of the supporting cast is solid here as well, with Ray Romano and Anna Paquin giving 2 memorable performances. While I understand that not everyone has the time to watch the film in one sitting, I would definitely recommend trying, as there is While I understand that not everyone has the time to watch the film in one sitting, I would definitely recommend trying, as there is a clear reason that Scorsese made this a feature film and not a miniseries. The Irishman is one of the best films I've seen this year, and it's one that I implore you to watch. I'm going to give The Irishman a perfect score of 5 out of 5 stars. Until next time, I'm Nate Richard, and I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a great rest of your holiday season.
Thank you, Nate. Great as always.
And now it's time for our shameless plug. This week, we've got the Real Deal podcast starring...
No, child. We don't do those anymore.
But I miss them.
You know what? I know exactly what to do to cheer you up. We'll sing.
Gasp!
A 1, a 2, a skiddly diddly do.
Bing bong, 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 bing bong.
So I have a small confession to make. I, Matthew Simmons, have developed a deep, uncurable fascination with cats. And no, I'm not talking about the animal, although shout out to cats. I mean the upcoming adaptation of the musical Cats. Now, ever since the first whispers of digital fur technology and the eventual first trailer, I have relished every moment where more information about this film is revealed. Now, a few weeks ago, a new trailer dropped, and while the CGI is admittedly better than the previous trailer, it still looks like a strange dumpster fire, and I am here for it. Now, a Cats adaptation isn't something I'd normally be excited about because I think the musical itself is bad. There really isn't a plot, it's just a bunch of cats singing their introductions and then wanting to die. Not a joke, and the songs are also not great. Memory is probably the only tolerable song in that entire show, and it's the only one that most people would know. But everything about this movie just seems to be the wrong choice, and I really just cannot wait to see how it turns out. So first, having the actors CGI'd just seems like a giant waste of money, where using costumes and makeup like the stage show would have probably ended up looking better than floating faces and Idris Elba's weird cat body. Second, there have been numerous conflicting reports about the budget for this. Some of these numbers have been as high as $300 million. Yes, even more than the Dula reboot coming out had to name drop it, do not judge. While others have placed it around a clean $100 million. Now with the amount of CGI and the motion capture going into this project, as well as the number of big actors, I have a hard time believing it's that low. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it were around the $200 million mark, which is $200 million, which would have been better used for literally anything else. Now lastly, even its own release date is working against its chances at the box office. The film will be released on December 20th, which pits the film itself against the Fox News drama Bombshell, and a little movie called Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. They literally couldn't have chosen a worse day to release the film. Now, who would want to go see Cats when the latest Star Wars movie is coming out? Me. I would, because I am insane, and I plan on seeing this ill-advised film on the biggest screen possible. Now, the one big question I've been avoiding this whole rant is this. What if Cats is actually good? The tagline for this thing is, "You will believe," which is hilarious. But what if I do believe? I mean, what if we all been collectively dunking on a film that turns out to be the best of the year? I'll try to avoid hyperbolics, but if this happens, it'd probably break the entire universe and space-time continuum as we know it. I'm just gonna end this segment before I give myself a brain aneurysm. As always, I'm Matthew Simmons, and happy holidays.
Thank you, Matt. Not the showmanship we were hoping for, but I think you did outshine us.
Don't lie to him. There's not a snowball's chance in hell he was better than us.
Okay, Abby, I'm gonna need you to chill with your puns.
Fine, but I do think we should start an a cappella group, and we could rival Pentatonics.
This is beginning to sound like a bad episode of The Office, starring Andy as the manager.
Well, ironic that you bring that up, because Noah is here to give us his ratings over the best Christmas episodes of The Office. Noah?
For the Christmas finale, I decided to look at the impressive 7 Christmas episodes from one of my favorite shows, The Office. Let's get into it. Starting off at number 7 is my least favorite Christmas episode, Christmas Wishes, Season 8, Episode 10. This episode is the first Christmas without Michael, so that already sets it back. On top of that, the episode focuses on Aaron being jealous of Andy and his new girlfriend. It's pretty repetitive and annoying, and there aren't a lot of redeeming qualities. Next is Season 6, Episode 13, Secret Santa. This is the episode where Phyllis wants to be Santa, and Michael throws a tantrum and ruins the party. This one is toward the bottom of the list because it's pretty similar to the plot of the costume party episode. Replace Phyllis with Daryl, and being Santa with going over Michael's authority, and there you go. Both of them have Michael not getting his way during a holiday party and him pouting. Next we have Season 9, Episode 9, Dwight Christmas. If you like Dwight's weird Schrute family traditions, then this episode is for you. This episode has Belschnickel, Dwight's off-brand Santa, everyone is dubbed impish and given a smack on the head, or admirable and given a present. Season 5, we have the Moroccan Christmas. This involves Phyllis in charge of the party planning committee as part of her blackmailing Angela for sleeping with Dwight, even though she's engaged to Andy. Okay, saying that out loud sounds really soap opera-y. Dwight is also scamming negligent parents with his monopoly on the year's hottest toy, Princess Unicorn, whose horn can pierce the sky. Meredith also gets so drunk and lights her hair on fire, which then inspires Michael to stage an intervention. I think this is number 3 if I'm counting correctly. Season 7, Episode 11, Classy Christmas. Since Holly, Michael's ex, is returning from Nashua, he decides to throw a classy Christmas party, complete with one bassist for the entire day instead of an entire quartet for half an hour. Daryl's daughter, Jada, also visits the office and passes out gifts from the vending machine, and Dwight and Jim start an increasingly violent snowball fight. The fight ends when Dwight says the greatest snowball isn't a snowball at all. It's fear. Number 2 is Season 2, Episode 10, Christmas Party. This very first Christmas episode is a fan favorite. Michael, unimpressed that he received an oven mitt when he bought an iPod, changes the Secret Santa into Yankee Swap, which makes his employee mad. Can we start back over from the top of the episode? All right. Number 2 is Season 2, Episode 10, Christmas Party. The very first Christmas episode is a fan favorite. Michael, unimpressed that he received an oven mitt when he bought an iPod, changes the Secret Santa into Yankee Swap, which makes his employees mad, and Michael says the iconic line, "Happy birthday, Jesus, sorry your party's so lame." After upsetting the office, Michael buys 15 handles of vodka to get 20 people drunk. This is also the episode where Jim gives Pam a very special teapot with bonus presents, which may or may not include a letter of Jim's secret feelings for Pam. Finally, the very best Christmas episode, Season 3, Episode 10, A Benihana Christmas. Not only is this the best Christmas episode, but it's also one of the best, period. Each of the characters has a chance to shine. Pam and Karen become friends, feuding with Angela. Michael and Carol break up because of his uncomfortable Photoshop on his Christmas card. We also get Dwight getting tricked into thinking he's being recruited by the CIA. And Angela sings The Little Drummer Boy for the very first time. Michael says his famous "Ho no mo" line. Every year, I make a tradition of watching all these episodes to get me in the holiday spirit. For Office fans everywhere, I'm Noah Bush.
Thank you as always, Noah. No better way to tie all the segment producers' works together for a close for 2019.
But that's not all. We've still got our last final word of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. You know, after all those finals and stuff. And I want to end this semester with a bang in playlists. That's right. I've talked about Disney a lot this semester, what with the remakes, the throwbacks, and the pluses, and I feel that it would only be fitting to talk about Disney for my final segment of 2019. With that being said, I hold the opinion that some of the Disney Channel holiday songs have truly been sat on for the last decade or so, and I want to remind people of their greatness so we can have a rockin' Christmas. I want to rockin' Christmas because that is what Hannah Montana tells us to do at the start of her version of Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. And this is probably the biggest one that I feel has been sat on. I honestly would choose her version over some others. Now, perhaps the Jonas Brothers agreed that Hannah Montana nailed it when they wrote Girl of My Dreams. Or maybe it was Selena they were thinking of. No one really ever does know. Anyways, this is another one that really deserves more credit. This song is kind of an angsty Christmas song filled with children's pop punk, and I truly don't think things could get much better. Now, another song I think we have left behind is also by an artist that I feel we've left behind. That's right, I'm talking about Keke Palmer and her version of Home for the Holidays. She really brings a hip-hop flow to the holiday season, and I think we need to take a moment to appreciate her bravery. Now this next one, I honestly put out of my memory altogether, and I don't even remember who the artist is, but Carlson Romano covered Best Time of the Year on Disney Channel, and honestly, it's kind of a bop. And I'm disappointed that we've slept on it all this time. It's also a little angsty, which was apparently just Disney Channel's vibe back then. Finally, and I feel that this song deserves more appreciation than the rest. Everyone knows I love the Cheetah Girls, but I don't think people can argue with me when I say that 5 More Days Till Christmas is one of the best Christmas songs ever written. It gets me feeling all the feels for the holiday season, and it brings a childlike joy to my heart anticipating Christmas morning. Now, most of these songs can be found on the Disney Channel Holiday album from 2007, and the last one can be found on the Cheetalicious Christmas album, both of which I will be creating a Spotify playlist with, so please enjoy the holiday throwbacks with me. We could all use some giddy childhood cheer. Now, I know this segment was all fun and games because, well, that's our brand. But I do want to say something a little more serious. As 2019 comes to a close, I am nothing but thankful, and that is because 2019 was the year that I started hosting this wonderful show. It has truly been one of the best experiences that I have ever had, so I say goodbye to 2019 and I look to 2020 with hope, looking forward to more amazing memories with this amazing show and cast. Happy holidays.
Okay, that was an emotional roller coaster. You said Keke Palmer, and I'm like, childhood. And then like at the end, I'm like, oh.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to touch your heart like that.
It's wonderful. It's
Okay,
wonderful.
Okay.
Okay. As the year winds down and we get ready for the holiday season, it's time to look at one of the things that we can just never get away from. Whether you hate it or not, it's Christmas music. Even now, hardly a week after Thanksgiving when we're talking about this, I've already been blasted by countless Christmas jingles on the radio, on TV commercials, even from people just humming them along in class. Every year, I get aneurysms just trying to hold back my contempt for this music. But this year, I've decided to change it up a bit. I'm going full Stockholm Syndrome with Christmas music and have been listening to She and Him. This duo band, starring Zooey Deschanel and M. Ward, have been flying under people's radars a little too long. Mostly everybody has a fleeting idea of Zooey Deschanel from her various roles and as an actress, but I've always been surprised at what a wonderful singer she is. That's why I've been going back to certain She and Him albums to listen to the duo. Okay, so first, I've tried listening to their original songs. A couple stand out here and there, but overall, it just never really clicked for me. It seems that they try to go for a style that feels like a mixture of easy listening 40s music with modern, slower pop. I don't know. Zooey Deschanel's singing is great to listen to in pieces like Stay a While, especially when they're accompanied by the deep reverb of M. Ward's occasional guitar riff. But when they stray away from that style, I think that they fall a little flat. Thankfully, She and Him have a wonderful cover album that you need to listen to this holiday season. Remember how I said it sounds like inspired by classic music from the likes of Dean Martin or Ella Fitzgerald? Well, their cover album, A Very She and Him Christmas, is just gold to listen to. The entire album is slow, carefully sung covers of classic Christmas music like Silver Bells, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and Christmas Wish. Zooey Deschanel's voice sounds like it was ripped straight from a worn-out vinyl record that gets pulled out every year just for the holiday celebrations. This whole album is just as great as their other cover albums like Christmas Party or Classics, which have some of my favorite oldies like Unchained Melody and We'll Meet Again. She and Him's cover songs are so well done that you think that they're on par with the original and in some cases arguably better. Zooey Deschanel's voice on the slower songs have this mesmerizing sound that makes you want to wrap yourself in a blanket, melt into the couch cushions, and sip on hot chocolate to watch the snow fall with your family by your side. While these albums aren't new, coming out between 2011 to 2016, they nail the timeless nostalgia feeling that we all get, especially from these classics, especially at this time of year. So this winter, if you're lazying about between the lulls of the holidays, you can't go wrong by listening to She and Him.
Well, I'll see you next year, Parker.
Wait, it's going to be a full year?
In 2020. Gotcha. Because, it's not going to be 2019 anymore.
So that's our last episode for 2019.
Okay.
We hope everybody has a wonderful holiday season, from our family at The Real Deal to yours. If you want more from us, check out our Facebook, Twitter, and website for all things entertainment. I'm your host, Parker Carlson.
And I'm Abby Perry. We'll see you next time on The Real Deal. Happy holidays.